Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's look is all about using minimal amounts of products to really give your skin that flawless finish but a very summery, nice and lightweight vibe. We have literally got on a skin tint with a little bit of concealer to give us some coverage, and I will show you the rest in the tutorial. So if you want to see how to get this look, keep on watching. As it's the summer, I'm going to do a no foundation look. So I'm going to use a liquid bronzer and then go in with some concealer so it's a little bit more natural, so we've still got the coverage in the centre of the face, but we bronze up that skin and it still looks like skin. So I'm going to go in with this product here, which is a product by Iconic London. This is the Sheer Bronze. I'm going to go in with my buffing brush by It Cosmetics. This is the Duo brush, so one end has the smaller side, which is great for concealer. You can totally put this on with your hands. It would make more sense because you don't want to lose any of the product in the bristles, and because it is so lightweight you could just work it in with your fingers, but I'm going to go with a brush today. So this is going on all the areas the sun would naturally hit. The shade I'm using by Iconic London is Golden Hour. Don't forget to bronze down your neck. I love a big kabuki brush for this. The concealer I'm going to use today is by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Magic Touch Concealer. Everybody is raving about this. This is shade number 5. So this comes in 25 shades. I'm going to take it underneath the eyes and on the outer edge. The reason we don't take it all the way under is because this is going to be too much just for the whole area. So this bit itself will blend down, this bit will blend up, and then we'll end up with a lighter amount just down here. But we've put it in the areas we want the most concentration. So this gives a soft focus effect to the skin, and it also has light reflecting properties to it. So it will brighten and it also colour corrects at the same time. Now, as I said, we aren't going to apply any foundation. So we are popping this on the areas where we want a little bit more coverage. And the centre of the face is always the best area for that. So we tend to get redness around our eyes, a little bit around our nose. And then if this is brighter, the rest of the face looks a little bit more three-dimensional, which is what we want. We don't want it to be too flat. So bounce this over the skin. So we're going to concentrate in the area that we've first applied it, so that starts to blend out that area. Take it up onto the lid itself because this will keep all your eyeshadows in place, and then bounce it round. So we're taking what's left on our sponge here, so it's not too heavy, and then this part we want it to stay where it is and then go upwards. So we bounce over it and then use what's left on the sponge to go upwards, and this is going to give a lifted effect to the face. Now don't worry, because there will still be a lot of product there, but we'll go back in with the other side of our sponge once we've done this side. Use a damp beauty blender. You can use a brush, but I feel like this is a quick way of getting that airbrushed finish to the skin without needing to go in with a brush, then a sponge to get rid of the kind of brush marks. So I've just done this side so you guys can kind of see the difference. Obviously it's not fully blended just yet, but because we've only got a tint on everywhere else, you can see that the coverage is in the centre, so it makes you look flawless, but you need less product. It's not necessary to have as much product. So we use what's left on the sponge now we've done this side of the blending, just to bounce that backwards, so it applies like a soft veil over the skin, so you're not applying any more product there, but it will add a tiny amount of coverage like a tint, and then we don't need to apply foundation as well as concealer. You can obviously wear a foundation, that's completely up to you. This is just another option for you to try. It's the same with the forehead. You bounce over the area that you've applied it, because this is where we want the most coverage, and then we bounce it upwards and outwards to meet the skin tint. You can still do exactly the same with a foundation instead of a concealer, but you'll get more coverage with the concealer, so you need less of it. And then turn your sponge over and then go over the areas that you've applied it first that need an extra blend, so there's not too much product there. And then if you want, you can go back in with your skin tint just to enhance a little bit more. Obviously that's completely up to you. You can conceal first and do your skin tint after, but I feel like you can be a little bit more liberal with your skin tint first because you know you're going back in with your concealer after, so you can kind of bounce over the majority of the areas that you've applied it, so it'll be underneath, so you'll get a little bit of a colour coming through, but it's not intense. If you're going with the majority of it after, you might find that you applied too much. So I've only applied a very light amount to my hand, and I'm just bouncing over the top to just subtly enhance what we've already applied. Nothing too much. It's a really quick way to achieve a flawless finish without feeling like you're wearing a ton of makeup. What I like about the Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer is it's really creamy, it's quite watery in its consistency, so it goes a long way. You've got that high coverage with the colour correcting properties to it, so you get the coverage but without that heaviness to the skin, so I don't really actually feel like I'm wearing anything at the moment, which I love. Now obviously I haven't set anything in place, so it's a little bit shiny. I will deal with that in a moment. I'm going to do my eyebrows and then I'll be back. Before I powder the skin, I'm going to do blush, and I'm going in today with the Clinique Chubby stick in the shade Amped Up Apple. I like these because they give just a wash of colour. So this is the shade we're working with. I'm going to use the same brush I used for the skin tint, bounce that into it, so we get a nice soft colour payoff, and this is going on the apples of the cheeks. So it's a really lovely way to build up the skin without looking heavy, and it doesn't feel heavy either. Pop a little bit across the bridge of the nose and also up here. Now don't worry if it comes out heavy, because we can go back in with our sponge. Just bounce over the top really softly to press it into the skin. It will take a little bit of the excess product off, and it will make it look more like one with the skin, which is what we want. Soft, summery, flushed skin. This is an old eyeliner pen. It's an old Moulac one. I just find it gives the best appearance for fake freckles. It's no good as an eyeliner anymore. The tip's kind of like all soft and bent. The problem with a lot of products for faux freckles is they're too strong. And this gives that kind of like warm brown finish, which a lot of freckles that are natural give. The real dark freckles are not summery freckles. Summery freckles tend to have a little bit of warmth underneath them. So this is what this gives. When I first got it, it was a lot darker, and I love now that it's running out. It's perfect for freckles. So dot them on in random formation and then just press them into the skin, and they'll leave the lightest tint behind, which just breaks up the appearance of that full coverage concealer, which gives a more natural finish to the skin. To set the skin, I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder, which is a finishing powder, which is my preference on my skin, but I will do a tutorial that describes the differences between a setting powder and a finishing powder. But today I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use my damp sponge to work that over the powder and then press that into the skin. So we're only going to go over the very centre of the face. And I love this powder because it gives a blurring effect to the skin. We want it to still look very natural, but we don't want that shine down the centre of the face. So this will just take that away. You can see instantly on the forehead how this side's shiny and then this side's matte. You can take this underneath the eyes if you want to, but I do have a tutorial on how to prevent your concealer from creasing, which I will link up in the top corner for you now. That shows you the perfect powder to use, because it's the powder you would use around your eyes, but you wouldn't necessarily use it over your entire face, and there is a very good reason for it, which I demonstrate in the video. So if you're finding that your concealer is moving, there could be a good reason why, and this will tell you. I'm going to pop a little bit more of that blush just on the apples of the cheeks. Helps if you smile a little bit because your cheeks lift. If you apply your blush too low, then it makes your face look a bit droopy. That's why you tend to see a lot of the trending blush techniques are high on the cheeks, which I've always done. I've always said about you using blush on the back half of your cheek for a lifted look. But I find in the summer, you know, like when you see kids playing out and you go, cool, they look really flush in the face, especially boys. Boys always tend to get very red hair. And that's a really nice sign of youthfulness, being hot and sweaty, but also very summery. So yeah, I feel like it's a nice one to pop on the apples of your cheeks in the summer, especially if it's nice and glowy and the makeup's relatively soft. If you're going for a very powdered look, I tend to find that if you apply too much here, it's quite aging, so keep it high up here. But with a creamy based product, you can kind of bounce it more or less all over as long as it's soft. Since it's quite a summery look, I think I'm going to use one of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills lip glosses. They've got Peachy, Amber Sparkle and Peachy Nude. As you know, I love a peach. Glosses are lovely for the summer because they just look kind of fresh and you look like you've made an effort. And they are better in the summer because there's less of a breeze, depending on where you live, I guess. So your hair's less likely to end up in your gloss, whereas if you try and wear a gloss in the winter, what a mess. So these are the lip glosses. So this one is Peachy, this one is Amber Sparkle, and this one is Peachy Nude. Could look quite nice. Bit boring, bit dark. I think I'm going to go with Peachy. That smells so edible. I'm going to keep the eyes extremely simple. We're just going to apply some mascara, but I'm going to apply a little bit of eyeliner in the tight line to get rid of any pinky tones. And this will make the lash line look fuller. I like to use a brush with long bristles because this is what I describe as the belly of the brush. And that way you can kind of blink onto the brush and drag it at the same time. That makes it easier to line your waterline, the top waterline. By blinking onto it, you're almost putting a bit of tension on the brush, which means you can kind of glide along. I'm using the Long Wear Gel Eyeliner by Bobbi Brown. No surprises. I like this one because it stays in place. This will make that lash line look a little bit fuller. I'm going to curl my lashes with these tweezers. These I got from the Guru Makeup Emporium and I will link them in the description bar for you. I like these ones because you can get right to the outer corner, give it a little pinch, and it just kind of like crimps your eyelashes right at the root. So if you struggle with normal lash colours, either they're too wide or they're not wide enough for your eye, or you find that you get the centre but not the outer edge, then these are really good. When it comes to the summer, it is best to use a tubing mascara because the great thing about tubing mascaras is they coat each individual lash in a kind of plasticky mascara. So it means you can move your lashes about, don't crumble, they stay flexible, but they always return back to the position. They don't flake, but they're also easy enough to remove with warm water. But in general, if your eyes are just watery, it's usually quite resistant to that. It's much more reliable than a generic mascara, and you don't need to emulsify it to take it off like you do a waterproof mascara. So you just need warm water and it will come off like a sock. It's very, very clever. And that's great for that warm weather, especially if you find you get transfer up here or down below. But today I'm going to use my favourite mascara, which is this one by Kristen Louboutin Beauty, which is the Amplifying mascara. I like this one because it's super black. Give it a good wiggle at the root. I like that it's got teeth all the way round, so you can turn it onto the tip and really coat the inner corner lashes. Also like that if you get this on your skin, if you just allow it to dry, it just knocks off with a Q-tip or a cotton bud. So you can see the difference. Obviously, if you are using a lash serum, it will make the most of your natural lashes. I've been using the Revitalash for a little while, but I'm thinking of trying the UK Lash one because it has over 40,000 5-star reviews. So again, use the tip to rotate and really pull out those little corner lashes. I'm going to apply a second coat. I find it hard to talk at the same time as do mascara, so I do apologise. Take a cotton bud and just remove any of the mascara that you've got on your skin. And that completes today's super simple sheer summer makeup. No foundation, still kind of like beautiful coverage, but just like skin. I love it. It's so lightweight. It's nothing you haven't really seen before, but just an updated version using some newer products. So I hope you still enjoyed the tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, because it really helps the algorithm. If you have any suggestions for tutorials, please leave them in the comment section below. I really want to be able to put content out there that you guys want to see, as opposed to me just kind of thinking, what do I want to do today? As always, please give the tutorial a thumbs up. Come follow me outside of YouTube over on Instagram. I'm a little bit more active over there. If you missed last week's tutorial, it will be on screen for you now, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.